Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om 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 Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Reading from Srimad-Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 1, Text 4. Naimishe Animisha Kshetre Rishayaha Shaunakadayaha Satrum Svargaya Lokaya Sahasra Samam Ashata Naimishe Nimisha Kshetre Rishayah Shaunakadayaha Satram Swargaya Lokaya Sahasra Samam Asata Naimisha Nimisha Kshetre Rishayah Shaunakadayaha Satram Swargaya Lokaya Sahasra Samam Asata Naimishe Nimisha Kshetre Rishayah Shaunakadayaha Satram Swargaya Lokaya Sahasra Samam Asata. Chant.
Naimishe Nimisha Kshetre
Naimishe Nimisha Kshetre
Rishaya Shaunakadayaha
Rishaya Shaunakadayaha
Satram Swargaya Lokaya
Satram Swargaya Lokaya
Sahasra Samamasata
Sahasra Samamasata Naimishe Nimisha Kshetre Satram Sargaya Lokaya Sahasra Samam Asata Naimishe. In the forest known as Naimisharanya, Animisha Kshetre, the spot which is especially a favorite of Vishnu, who does not close his eyelids. Rishayaha, sages. Shaunakadayaha, headed by the sage Shaunak. Satrum, sacrifice. Swargaya, the Lord who is glorified in heaven. Lokaya, and for the devotees who are always in touch with the Lord. Sahasra, 1,000. Samam, years. Asata, performed. Translation. Once in a holy place in the forest of Naimisharanya, great sages headed by the sage Shaunak assembled to perform a great 1,000-year sacrifice for the satisfaction of the Lord and his devotees. Purport. The prelude of the Srimad-Bhagavatam was spoken in the previous 3 shlokas. Now the main topic of this great literature is being presented. Srimad-Bhagavatam, after its first recitation by Srila Shukadeva Goswami, was repeated for the second time at Naimisharanya. In the Vayaviya Tantra, it is said that Brahma, the engineer of this particular universe, contemplated a great wheel which could enclose the universe. The hub of this great circle was fixed at a particular place known as Naimisharanya. Similarly, there is another reference to the forest of Naimisharanya in the Varaha Purana, where it is stated that by performance of sacrifice at this place, the strength of demonic people is curtailed. The Brahmanas prefer Naimisharanya for such sacrifice. Thus, the Brahmanas prefer Naimisharanya for such sacrificial performances. The devotees of Lord Vishnu offer all kinds of sacrifices for his pleasure. The devotees are always attached to the service of the Lord, whereas fallen souls are attached to the pleasures of material existence. In Bhagavad Gita, it is said that anything performed in the material world for any reason other than for the pleasure of Lord Vishnu causes further bondage for the performer. It is enjoined, therefore, that all acts must be performed sacrificially for the satisfaction of Vishnu and his devotees. This will bring everyone peace and prosperity. The great sages are always anxious to do good to the people in general, and as such the sages headed by Shaunak and others assembled at this holy place of Naimisharanya with a program of performing a great continuous chain of sacrificial ceremonies. Forgetful men do not know the right path for peace and prosperity. However, the sages know it well, and therefore for the good of all men, they are always anxious to perform acts which may bring about peace in the world. They are sincere friends to all living entities, and at the risk of great personal inconvenience, they are always engaged in the service of the Lord for the good of all people. Lord Vishnu is just like a great tree, and all others, including the demigods, men, siddhas, charanas, vidyadharas, and other living entities, are like the branches, twigs, and leaves of that tree. By pouring water on the root of the tree, all the parts of the tree are automatically nourished. Only those branches and leaves which are detached cannot be so satisfied. Detached branches and leaves dry up gradually despite all watering attempts. Similarly, human society, when it is detached from the personality of Godhead, like detached branches and leaves, is not capable of being watered, and one attempting to do so is wasting his energy and resources. The modern materialistic society is detached from its relation to the Supreme Lord, and all its plans, which are being made by atheistic leaders, are sure to be baffled at every step. Yet they do not wake up to this. In this age, the congregational chanting of the holy names of the Lord is the prescribed method for waking up. The ways and means are more scientifically presented by Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and intelligent persons may take advantage of his teachings in order to bring about real peace and prosperity. Srimad-Bhagavatam is also presented for the same purpose, and this will be explained more specifically later in the text. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gaura Vani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyadi Paschat Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasati Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Rama Rama Hare Hare. Naimishe Nimisha Kshetre Rishaya Shaunakadaya Sattam Swargaya Lokaya Sahasra Samamasata. Once in a holy place in the forest of Naimisharanya, great sages headed by the sage Shaunak assembled to perform a great 1,000-year sacrifice for the satisfaction of the Lord and his devotees. As the first paragraph of this purport is saying, the prelude of Srimad-Bhagavatam was spoken in the previous 3 shlokas. Now the main topic of the great literature is being presented. Prelude means we are looking at something before the actual beginning, a prelude. So we had a glance at the contents of the Bhagavatam, first, second and third verse. First verse is summary of the whole text, explaining detail about Krishna, his abode, his energies, his nature. And second text then explained about the position of Srimad-Bhagavatam and what it's going to explain, what it effect. Third verse explained about some aspect of Rasa Tattva, that what is speciality of Srimad-Bhagavatam, it's delineating on the confidential pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his personal feature and interactions with his devotees in terms of rasa. very high topic, but it was introduced to know where the subject matter is heading and what's going to be discussed. So now, in one way we are saying, okay, Bhagavatam is the whole text, but now it's beginning the narration, opening with the word Naimishe, reference to Naimisharanya. Naimisha, and in keeping with Srimad-Bhagavatam style of presenting highest philosophy in poetic form, the opening verse is Naimisha Nimisha Kshetre, and Nimish coming from the word Animisha. Animisha means who does not close his eyes. So referring to Vishnu. Naimisha, the forest known as Naimisharanya. Animisha Kshetre, the spot which is favorite of Vishnu. But they could have said Vishnu, they could have said Keshav, they could have said so many words. But they're saying, he's saying, Nimisha. Therefore rhyming with Naimisha. Naimishe Nimisha Kshetre. So, highest philosophy presented poetically. All the beautiful features of language should be used for glorifying the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So we know Srimad-Bhagavatam was spoken by Shukadev Goswami. We can say that's popularly understood and known, and that in his version of Bhagavatam, everyone assembled at the time of just after Lord Krishna departed. So that was on the Sandhya of Dwapar and Kali. At that time, Shukadev Goswami spoke Srimad-Bhagavatam, and that version is very fixed in everyone's mind, that is Bhagavatam. But it was spoken again then, not very recently, more recently, much more into Kali Yuga. It was spoken again by Suta Goswami, who was present there. So this is how it was spoken, that it's going to explain now how sages gathered to do some welfare work for people in general. And in the course of that, it was spoken, because what is highest welfare work for people than distributing teachings of Bhagavatam? In the purport, clarification is and explanation is made about Naimisharanya. Here referred to as Naimisha in relation to Naimisharanya. So it's said here regarding Naimisharanya, first that in the Vayaviya Tantra, Brahma, the engineer of this universe, contemplated a great wheel, and that hub of the wheel was fixed at this place. It was the center of that wheel, he said. And another reference to Naimisharanya comes in Varaha Purana. It's a very old text, one of the early texts. There it's stated that if someone performs any yajna in Naimisharanya, then the strength of demonic people is curtailed. Simply by going to Naimisharanya and doing yajna, then the negative effects, the asuric tendency of the asuras is reduced. So, yeah, in that regard, once I went on Navadip Dham Mandal Parikram, and in Navadip are all the different dhams within Varanasi, Mathura, everywhere. So we came to Naimisharanya within Navadip, and there we did a long kirtan for benefiting the whole creation. Because anything done there, the effect is felt everywhere, all over the creation. So, performance of sacrifice. What happened here? The devotees came, sages came. Why did they come to Naimisharanya? They came to perform sacrifices to benefit human society. Here it's mentioned in the purport that we can see a big difference between sages and devotees. They're contemplating what is the benefit, what benefit can be had for people. Whenever they want to do some activity, how will it benefit the people in general? How can we benefit? That is their motivation. But that's not true for materialists. Materialists, their motivation is how to enjoy themselves. Great sages are always anxious to do good to people in general, and as such, sages headed by Shaunak assembled in Naimisharanya with a program of performing a great continuous chain of sacrificial ceremonies. So we should note that this is beginning of Dwapar Yuga, Kali Yuga. Krishna had departed. Krishna's departure marked the beginning of Kali Yuga. Dharma Jnana Adibi Saha. When he left, along with him went Dharma and Jnana. Jnana means that understanding of knowledge that people, that they are not the body, they are the soul. Generally, people became more covered with Tamagun, Rajagun, and they could not perceive that much. Okay, Jnana and Dharma. Dharma means the duty of all man to serve God. That was lost. Gradually, as Kali Yuga progressed, people didn't understand what was their duty as jivas. What is our duty? No, neither were they interested to know. So, not knowing that, they engage in all sorts of sinful activities. So the sages, it was still in that period, beginning of Kali Yuga, remnants of Treta. In Treta Yuga, what was the Yuga Dharma?
Sacrifice.
Yeah, sacrifice. So that's what we do generally, yajna. You maybe mean to say homa. Or there in the shloka it says makai. Makai means activity relating to Makkah. Makkah means the place of sacrifice of Homa. That is a Sanskrit word. So actually that was the remnants of Treta, and so they were sitting down to do sacrifice. But later on the Yuga Dharma came. And so then anyone wanting to do any benefit will not do this. They will do the chanting of the holy name. But that was still the prelude. And so now what would happen is they're doing sacrifice not knowing what to do. And later on it will be said that they became blackened by that sacrifice because of lighting so many fires and doing yajna. Then the smoke came. But that's all that happened, nothing happened. So then they asked Sutta, well, that is ahead in the verse, we will not speak now. But the performance of sacrifice is what motivates devotees, for them benefit of everyone. And regarding their benefit, well, they understand that Supreme Lord is merciful and powerful, and whatever He wants to do to them, let Him, whether He wants to deliver me or not. But my duty is to engage in His service. The duty of the jiva is engage in Krishna's service. Jeev Krishna Das, e vishwas, kar le to aar koi dukha nahi. That if someone has full faith that the duty of the jiva is to serve Vishnu and he does that, then he'll not suffer just by that knowledge. So, devotees are not anxious about themselves. They're anxious to know how to deliver other people. And in doing so, Krishna will deliver them, even though they're not qualified. It's a very fast system of advancement. It's simply serving Vishnu by spreading his glories. Preaching, in other words. So the sages sat down and began to perform continuous chain of sacrifices. Having a higher consciousness, devotees, and as Prabhupada said, we are not devotees, we are aspiring to be devotees. But if we take the devotee of Vishnu, Krishna, they are not in the modes of nature. They have higher consciousness. Also, Krishna will communicate to them what to do, how to serve Him. So having higher knowledge, higher consciousness, higher perception, higher understanding, they understand that it's very important to do yajna, to study Bhagavatam and to spread this knowledge. They have that understanding. The mass of people don't know. They'll not engage in preaching. But these people have a high understanding to understand that these jivas in this world, they're suffering so much. And they will suffer so much, especially as Kali Yuga goes on. So we must engage in preaching, in spreading this knowledge. This is their understanding. They have that understanding. So they're so motivated that we must do this. But it's difficult. But there's so much suffering in that activity. But there's austerity. But that knowledge they have, that much, that to understand, that austerity they're going through to do that is nothing compared to what the people will suffer if we do not spread this knowledge. That is much more. It's great suffering. And so better we suffer this much than to let them suffer much more. What is our suffering? We already, devotees who already got the knowledge, are already saved. It's a matter of time. I heard this in a lecture once. Why a Prabhupada disciple beginning with Y? What was his name? I think Yadunandan Das from America. He was saying, it was actually again Navadip Dham Parikram, saying that this is Audarya Dham, place of mercy, and we have to imbibe the mood of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, which is that we have to spread this movement even in great difficulty or circumstances for ourselves, because this is the mood of Mahaprabhu, and Gaudiyas are the followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And for Krishna, this is the most highest activity is preaching. He'll be most pleased. So we want to please Krishna most, we spread that knowledge. But it will be difficult, so many risks. But again, what difficulty we face will be much less compared to the other jivas who suffer if they don't get this knowledge. Practically, it's material world is like a desert, no water. So no knowledge, speak in Kali Yuga, no knowledge, no gyan, no dharma. Living entities are missing this because this is the feature of Kali Yuga. When Krishna left, these things left. So any effort to spread it will be very much pleasing to Krishna. The sages had gathered for this purpose. And where did they gather? Naimisharanya. They understood that if we here engage in sacrifice, we'll benefit all the jivas in Kali Yuga. And they understood, other people didn't know. They were engaged in their material sense gratification, ahara, bhaya, nidra, maithunya. But the sages knew in Kali what is coming. So spread the knowledge, do benefit to these jivas. How will we save them? How will we save them? This is the understanding. So in the purport, Prabhupada writes, forgetful, how will I find it? Forgetful. It's different in my computer and here. Here. Forgetful men do not know the right path for peace and prosperity. Forgetful means they are influenced by Maya. They forgot the, Satchidanand feature is not there anymore. Chit, full knowledge is not there. So they don't know the right path for peace and prosperity. However, sages know it well. Therefore, for good of all men, they are always anxious to perform acts which may bring about peace and prosperity. Some people are pious. They want to do good, but they don't know how. They need to be guided. They start doing bodily welfare work. Bodily welfare work. Right in the beginning of Bhagavad Gita, in a purport in chapter 2, Prabhupada explains that if someone is drowning and you save their jacket, you didn't really save them. So similarly, people are suffering in this material world and we are relieving their bodily suffering. That is not really relieving the suffering. Actually, if someone's consciousness, if someone's Krishna conscious, the same thing that he is undergoing, which normal people consider suffering, will not be suffering. It won't be. Less eating, no honor, no prestige, no possessions, poverty. They'll be in bliss. And actually, Brahmanas, they put themselves in that situation voluntarily. It's not suffering for them. But now people are so disturbed. I need to get a house, I need to get a car, I need to get money. What will I do? How am I going to get all these possessions? And how will I live in this world if I don't have a job? I must get a job. But not previously. Previously, people had deep understanding of nature and God. To understand that, Supreme Personality of Godhead provides everything for everyone, especially His devotees. Yoga Kshemam Vahamyaham, that He will provide whatever is needed. So they'll not get in a mad rat race to study, earn and all that. Of course, they will be doing some activity for their economic benefit. But they know. So having higher knowledge, but forgetful here, it says forgetful people, they don't know the right path. Devotees know the right path is spreading of Bhagavad Dharma, Krishna consciousness. If it is spread, people will not lack anything. No lack, there will be prosperity for all. Simple formula for prosperity. First of all, if you please Krishna, there no doubt, but even if you're not a devotee, simply do yajna. Evam pavartatam chakre, it says in 3rd chapter of Bhagavad Gita, the chakra for prosperity. What is the chakra? Yeah, correct. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, Vajanyo Yagya Karma Samudbhava. That if we need grains. For grains, well, we need rain. How does rain came? Because of Yagya. How does Yagya come? Karma. Karma in the sense, do your duty in Varnashram. But you could say that Yagya Bhavati Parajanyo. Yagya, basically. Yagya means satisfying Vishnu. Yagya Vai Vishnu. So in that context, Krishna was telling Arjun, do your duty as a Kshatriya. In that way, you're doing your duty, that is Yagya, and then you'll be provided for everything. If you don't do your duty, we'll suffer, we will lack. So that is in that context. But also, doing Yagya, generally speaking, leads to prosperity. Doing Yagya. How do we know whether places are pious or impious, the people? You just drive around, see, are the rivers there? Are the trees giving fruit? Or is it a desert? Some people live in desert. Water will grow in the desert. This is sinful birth. Okay, within even one tract of land, you'll go somewhere, rivers are flowing, so many fruits, flowers and plants, pious people. No rivers, people are struggling with water, and fruits and flowers are in short supply, so people are eating meat. So we can understand how nature is reciprocating. That simply, but people don't know the path of prosperity, but there it's there. That there's the chakra mentioned in Bhagavad Gita. Evam pravartatam chakre, that if anyone continues this path, this chakra cycle of yagya and doing their duty, performing yagya, then rain will come and food will come. Three things go on. If they stop yagya, then they'll suffer. They'll begin to suffer. And then no amount of NGOs, welfare work can stop it. No amount of donations and food distribution can stop suffering. There's some places in this world, they're distributing food for decades. It's not helped. As Prabhupada would quote in the Bible, Jesus said, the poor will always be with us. Our aim is not to stop poverty in that way. That is the symptom of a disease. The disease is forgetfulness of Krishna. That leads to suffering, lack of food, lack of proper climate, too much rain, no rain, disease, pestilence. This will all come from suffering, from giving up Krishna, serving Krishna. So people don't know the plan, they don't know. And so they're trying then to, in the wrong way, to help people. But the sages of Naimisharanya knew we simply have to do yagya. They were doing yagya. But later on it will come that in Kali Yuga the yagya is Harinam Sankirtan. And in order to know that, they didn't know actually. Later they were to ask Sutta Goswami, that what shall we do? We are doing this, is it the correct way? How are we going to benefit people of Kali Yuga? So then, and what is the nature of the Supreme? Because Krishna had departed, they didn't understand how to make sense of the Vedas which they had. So then Shaunaka was asking, the sages headed by Shaunaka. So Sutta Goswami, he was speaking all this knowledge which he heard from Shukadev Goswami. So he knew, sages knew, devotees know. Devotees are in knowledge. Devotees should be leaders, devotees should be teachers, no one else. Prabhupada said, if ever we to engage in democracy and voting, there must be Krishna conscious leaders who will vote for. People should demand, otherwise don't put vote to anyone who is not Krishna conscious, who is not following 4 regulative principles, chanting 16 rounds and regularly reading Prabhupada's books. Then we can vote for them. Oh, attend Mangalarti also. Prabhupada wanted that all politicians attend Mangalarti. Maybe Gaurarti also, I can't remember.
Brahman.
Yeah, and have Brahmin Diksha basically. So that is the way to help society. This is the way. Who knows? No one knows. Kali Yuga, no knowledge. People are don't have knowledge. We are in this ocean of ignorance. Big, complete misguided society. Prabhupada writes, completely misdirected society. Canto 1, Chapter 2, Text 10. This completely misdirected 10, I don't know. This Kamas and India Priti. Anyway. So, body welfare work is not welfare work. Welfare work is spreading Krishna consciousness, spreading Bhagavad Dharma. Bhagavad Dharma is telling the jiva that you must serve Krishna because that is your position. serving Krishna and giving information about Bhagavan and our relation to Bhagavan and how to awaken that relation. Sambandha Abhidya Prayojana Gyan. Giving that knowledge, that is the best welfare work, giving Gyan. Then they'll stop suffering. So the sages in Namaskar did not know that. Later they asked Sut Goswami, and then he spoke Bhagavatam, then they understood. In the purport, Prabhupada writes, Vishnu is like the root of a tree. Vishnu is like a great tree, and all others, including demigods, men, siddhas, charanas, vidyadharas, other living entities, are like branches and twigs and leaves of the tree. So they're automatically nourished. Why are you going around trying to nourish all the different people in this world? You simply please Krishna and everything will be provided. That's the formula. A report asks Prabhupada, what is your organization doing for peace? God is like the root of the tree, Krishna is the root, we are satisfying him, supplying to him, everyone is satisfied. She might have thought, this old man didn't understand my question. But what are you doing for the poor people? What are you doing for the people, suffering people of this world? Prabhupada repeated, Krishna is the root of the tree, everyone else is the twig and branches. When we satisfy Krishna, everyone is satisfied. And I think there was a third time. Third time again he had to repeat. So this is philosophy, deeper philosophy. They don't understand. Krishna is the tree, everyone else is stemming from this tree. And so when we satisfy Krishna, yatha taror mula nishechanena tripyanti tatskanda bhujopashakha prana chayatendriyanam tata sarva arhanam achyuteja, achyuta ijya. Ijya means worship. When we worship Achyuta, tata sarva arhanam, everyone is worshipped, everyone is satisfied. That is the way to do it. You want to bring peace and prosperity? Satisfy Krishna. Krishna should be satisfied. We'll get a good government, we'll get a good population, we'll get food, everything will be auspicious if we satisfy Krishna. I keep repeating this one point that I read, which seems so amazing, that Prabhupada said, how to bring back Kshatriya government? How? What do you think? Simple thing, one thing, anyone can do. Prabhupada said, Harinam Sankirtan. Just do Harinam, again and again and again do Harinam, we will get Kshatriya government. Not some big endeavor, take up arms and fight and overthrow and nothing, just do Kirtan. Kirtana deva Krishnasya. It says that, Yajanti Hisume Dasha. Intelligent people will do Kirtan. That is what we need to do. So for peace and prosperity, the sages know that's what they do. They simply engage in serving the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Then everything is sorted out. But it's mentioned here, the detached branches, they will not be nourished. In a tree you have a branch which dries up, gradually dries up, and you keep watering the tree, you're watching that branch is drying, one day it will fall, and it falls down. Or same with a leaf. Leaf is dried up. I'm watering, the plant is nourished, but this leaf is drying. You cannot help it. So similarly, society can be nourished by Vishnu, by glorifying Vishnu. But some people, they disconnect. Disconnect means they reject God consciousness. They don't want to serve God. They want to live a materialistic life. They will never be benefited. They will dry up. It may not be today, may not be tomorrow, but that individual or that country, that society will be dried up in due course of time. We see that now. Great civilizations ruling the world. At that time they thought that this will go on forever. Where are they now? They are not there. Even now, right now, within 100 years, certain countries were dominating. They're all drying up now. And they say now Asia is coming up economically, financially, politically, Asian continent. But again, if they don't serve Vishnu, they'll also dry up. So that's the way to benefit people. They must be connected to Krishna or they'll dry up. Here Prabhupada says, the modern materialistic society is detached from its relation to the Supreme Lord. All the plans which are made by atheistic leaders are sure to be baffled. Can understand that. Sure to be baffled. Prabhupada said, everything he will finish, it will be destroyed. Why? Because it's detached from its relation to the Supreme. In our education, where is that information about Krishna? It's not. In politics is people vying for the government, with the best way of governance, and who will govern, how to govern. So government is meant for Krishna, representing Krishna. They're not doing it. Schools and colleges, they're not giving the knowledge. Detached from Krishna. Politics, economics is proper distribution of wealth. Whose wealth? Whose wealth is Krishna's wealth? You're not accounting for that. It will all go. We'll have to suffer. If we do not connect to Krishna, then no amount of NGOs, help, welfare scheme can help. Nothing, it won't help. So because the modern society is detached from Krishna, this is the destiny. Prabhupada is saying, all the plans which are being made by atheistic leaders are sure to be baffled at every step. Yet they do not wake up, and we are telling them, no, be Krishna conscious. No, they don't want to. So this is a glance in the purport of this verse, which is saying, in a holy place the sages came and assembled to perform a great 1,000-year sacrifice for satisfying the Lord. So Prabhupada explains, and also, but this is the beginning of the Bhagavatam. In the last verse, Prabhupada is giving a hint, even though it did not come yet. He's giving the answer immediately, because some people, they'll not read Bhagavatam. They'll read and stop, that's it. So practically in this verse, I can see the whole of our mission and philosophy. And it's ending with, in this age, congregation of the chanting of the holy names of the Lord is prescribed for waking up. The ways and means are most scientifically presented by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and intelligent persons may take advantage of his teaching in order to bring about real peace and prosperity. That's it, in few words. Peace, we don't want war. People don't like it. People don't want suffering. People want prosperity. I mean, I'm feeling pain. I'm eating, but someone is not eating. Oh, I had to help him. Help the poor. How will we do it? Spread the congregational chanting of the holy names. And do it. Chant holy name. Chant the holy name. Make people chant. All auspiciousness will come. Especially in this age, this is the ways and means. And Prabhupada says that it's presented scientifically by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu how to do it. The way and the means. The system of doing it is given. System is, we do Harinam. We conduct classes and spread the chanting that way. The ways and the mean. The means are, what will we use? We'll use Madanga, we'll use Kartal. We'll use everything. We'll use everything to spread this movement. So this was scientifically presented by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Scientifically, he presented it. Intelligent persons may take advantage of his teachings. Are you intelligent? Intelligent people?
Aspiring intelligence.
Good, then you can take it up. Intelligent. If you're not intelligent, that we can understand. Okay, he didn't take it. But intelligent so-called people, they're expected to take it up. Leaders, politicians, philosophers, economists. Take it up means, take it up. Chant, 16 rounds. Read daily. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's recommendation is we read Bhagavatam, read Bhagavad Gita. And then bring about real peace. The last sentence here, Srimad-Bhagavatam is also presented for the same purpose. This was the presentation. Which verse is that actually? Many times we repeat that Anartha upashamam sakshat bhakti yogam adokshade lokasya janata vidvams chakre satvata samitam. That the process of bhakti can bring about all peace, prosperity, and destroy the suffering condition of people. Anartha upashamam sakshat bhakti yogam adokshade. Simply by bhakti. People don't know this, that by bhakti we can do this. So, Vyasadeva compiled Srimad-Bhagavatam for this purpose. So, Srimad-Bhagavatam is also presented for the same purpose. This will be explained more specifically. And so, when they asked Sutta Goswami, what shall we do? What is the thing to do? He spoke Bhagavatam. And they had a hint that that is the path, that what we should do. You heard Bhagavatam from Shukadeva Goswami? Yes. Please, can you tell us? Then they got the proper idea. Similarly, we'll also know how to act, how to live. Society will know. which is the path for prosperity, by studying Bhagavatam. Hare Krishna. Any question, comment?
Previously also Vishnu-centered civilization existed, like Angkor Wat, Srirangam, and Chola dynasty, Pandya dynasty. They all also collapsed. They were also Vishnu-centered. We are telling that if we once center our civilization on Vishnu, it will sustain, it won't finish. But we are seeing that they have finished, so it is possible that we will also. So it's
how to keep it?
It's finishing. So what is the definition of it? Like it's transcendental, we say, but we can see that, with our eyes that it's collapsing also. We are telling other big kingdoms have collapsed, but even Vishnu civilization have collapsed. Vaishnav civilization.
Okay.
So how to?
Okay. All right. Now we look also at the fact that here in India, Bharatavarsha was ruling the whole planet for millions of years. Millions. Not really 10, 100 years. Satya, Treta, Dwapar, and so far Kali were past 5,000 years. Most of it, the whole world was ruled by Hastinapur, from Hastinapur. That was maintained. Prabhupada said, when they were telling Srila Prabhupada, when Prabhupada's guru was told that, you see, we have to throw out these British. Why are we focusing on this preaching? First, throw out the British. We are under a foreign country. Then many things was replied to that, but one thing that his guru replied is, look, actually mostly 99% of the time till now, India was ruling. Now for some time they are not ruling. So what is the big difference? What is the loss? That will also change. Okay. So my point is that yes, now you're saying Vaishnava societies are not these ones, what you mentioned. But actually before, India was ruling through Vaishnav kings, Parikshit Maharaj, Yudhishthira Maharaj, they were ruling. Okay. Now in the modern day, due to the influence of Kali, they degraded. Influence of Kali is modes of passion, ignorance are prominent. Okay, so yes, they collapsed. But again, let's look at it. We're looking at Srirangam and all these places. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, it's written that in this age of Kali, anybody who's worshipping Krishna or Vishnu, who is a devotee, will also dry up if they do not take to the teachings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu within Kali Yuga. Now in Kali Yuga, you may have Vaishnavas, devotees, but if they are not centered on Mahaprabhu, we are seeing now also Vaishnavas and Dhams unmanifesting. But Navadip Dham is manifesting. It's increasing, developing, people are coming, it's getting, huge temples are being built. In other places, other Dham, it's not like that. So the answer to the question is that how do we stop that? Why did it happen? There are many reasons for that, you could say. One principal aim is what I read in Chaitanya Charitamrita, that even devotees and Vaishnavas have to take shelter of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then they will not go, disappear. And we can see now ISKCON, so many problems inside, so many problems outside, so many problems everywhere. But somehow we have to give credit that ISKCON is existing still as an entity. Now, and some people are tempted to compare with other Vaishnava societies. Oh, look at them, now look at us. Yeah, but other societies are focused on Brahminical culture and people born of Brahmin family, and they're coming and they're fixed. But our ISKCON is taking up people from what background, and they're being purified, they're preaching, and still they're holding together. So what a great credit. So to prove that point, what I'm saying is look at ISKCON. It's still going on, it's still manifesting, it's increasing. Okay? So in that way we can see that. The reason those societies even now fell, Krishna would know, I cannot know Krishna's plan. Okay? But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teachings, if anyone takes to it, they will not. Anandam buddhi vardhanam pratibadam punamrita swadanam. It will expand. Anandam buddhi vardhanam. Expanding.
One more appropriate shloka I thought that is in context with the purport, that is end lecture of Kaler dosha nidhi rajan asti kumar kirtanadiva Krishna.
No, that didn't come yet. They're asking the question. Yeah, but okay. Yeah.
So now Nam Sankirtan will clear everything. That was the
all right.
And today, being disappearance of Baldev Vidyabhushan, he wrote a commentary on Vishnu Sahasranam. In the last, usually when recited by Shri Vaishnava, this very famous shlok they recite in the end: Arta Vishanna Shikhilascha Bhita Ghoreshu Cha Vyadhishu Vartamana. All material suffering and this Sankirtan Narayana Shabda Matre Vinukta Dukha Sukhina Bhavantu. It is told all this material great anxiety and suffering will go away just to take only the chanting to the name of Narayana. So this also I thought.
No, yes, 2 verses.
One question Deepak is asking.
Yes.
Since Abrahamic religions are not connected to Vishnu, still why they are expanding?
Okay, the question is that since Abrahamic religions, they are not connected to Vishnu, why are they expanding? Prabhupada said regarding these Abrahamic religions, they are forms of Vaishnavism. They are theistic. Buddhism is not theistic. There are other paths which are not theistic. These are forms of, okay, they do some austerity, something, okay. But now we are looking at this period. Brief period, we cannot judge in this short time. In this short time, what happened is that the influence of Kali, and as Kali increases, influence of Tamogun, Rajogun are increasing. And so, as Prabhupada mentions in Chaitanya Charitamrita, that religions of the Yavanas and Mlechas are, well, scriptures are Quran, Old Testament and New Testament. So this means that this is meant for that class of people. As people's guna comes down, they are not able to follow or not inclined to follow Vedic path. They take up that path. This is different rules than what I said. It's different dynamic. The dynamic here is because of fall of the guna, they gravitate towards a religion of that guna. That is given in Bhagavad Gita chapter 17, text 2 and 3. That Krishna says there that according to the guna, one chooses his faith, his system of dharma. So that is what is working here. But it's predicted in Shastra by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that this will become the main religious system, Sankirtan. This will overtake everything. Param Vijayati Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. Krishna Sankirtan will conquer everywhere and become the main religion. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur said it will be the main religious system. And Shastra says in one particular verse in Garga Samhita, and Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur also said, all Vaishnava paths and all religious systems will find their conclusions in this path. So temporarily now we are seeing difference. And this would have happened if the Sankirtan movement had not come. In a normal Kali Yuga, gradually other systems of religion which are non-Vedic will increase because the people on that guna level. But now it will change, it's predicted, but don't wait to change it. For it to change, you have to do it also. So it's predicted that the Sankirtan movement will spread all over the world. One second, so that it's anything else there. Okay, Hare Krishna.
The last look that I told was from Vishnu Dharmottar Puran, for the reference.
Okay, the verse you quoted is from that Puran. Okay, Hare Krishna. Srimad-Bhagavatam ki jai.